Hey, can I once again just want to share a few words of encouragement, and hopefully it helps you to get you on your journey or help you to realize that you're actually just stuck in traffic. Now today I just want to talk about relationships. And relationship is a very complex dynamics that the Lord have orchestrated in order for procreation. And within relationship, you'll find a lot of issues, man. So many different issues in so many different areas because you have two people that are imperfect, two people that have their own level of trauma that they bring into the relationship. They have growth spurts that will happen in the relationship. So there's so many different complexities that takes place in this relationship that a lot of times we don't take the time out to try to learn and to understand what some of those complexities are. And what end up happening is that later on in that relationship, you tend to discover things about your partner that you didn't have a clue existed because you didn't take that time out to go through that little courting stage, getting to know the individual, learning their past, learning what traumas they suffered, and different things like that, and how they're coping with those things. So within the relationship, you might find yourself, I just want to address one of those aspects of the complexity, and it's change. When you evolve, and your partner might still be where they're at. So this happens a lot of times when one spouse might be younger than the other, and for whatever reason, as that younger person evolves, the older person might still be accustomed to that younger person, probably looking to them for guidance or looking to them for insight or looking to their leadership. But as that younger person matures and they get older, they're going to want to take control of their own life. They might not be as submissive as they used to be. They might not go along with everything that you say, but you have to go through that. And this is something that the older person might have to adjust to. So changing, as that person evolves, that changing becomes hard to endure. That changing becomes a little challenging for, the individual that might have been older, more mature, and spearheading the relationship. But the thing I realize is that we cannot change anybody. We cannot stagnate anybody's growth by forcing them to be a particular way that we want them to be. We have to allow that person to grow at their pace, and when you allow them to grow at their pace, this is something now that happens organically, and it's able to help mend the relationship the way that it should, right? Because in a case where you might be evolving, let's say you're maturing, whoever that individual or whoever that person may be within the relationship has matured, has learned the errors of their ways and want to bring about change in the relationship. And there might be a particular partner that might not want to change. They might want to remain the same exact way that they were and they're not evolving. Now, this can be a very frustrating point within the relationship. And this is where a lot of people, they lead to divorce, separation. Sometimes it even leads to physical altercation within the relationship because now it becomes stressful because you're expecting that this person would also modify their behavior and allow the relationship to take its normal course. Now, in most cases, that don't happen until that person realizes that they're doing something wrong. And for the other person now that might be on the receiving end of that wrong, it begins to be a little frustrating. And for men, a lot of times when we find ourselves in frustrating situation, some of us, we talk through it. But for the most of us, we tend to just try to find an outlet. And that outlet can create more harm than good. And that outlet might be, going to the arms of someone else. That outlet might be storming out the house, going and stay with family or relatives or whatever. That outlet might be, just taking a break or separating for a minute. So we find different ways to where we need to clear our heads and find how we're going to adjust to that situation. And then we will come back and talk with that woman and try to straighten things out. But in the interim, I just want to encourage my fellas, man, is that, in that moment when you find it to be so stressful that you can't deal with it, just leaving shouldn't be the first go-to option. Because this is where now we as men, we have to reinvent ourselves. Because we can't change the woman that we're with. We have to reinvent ourselves. We have to now look and see how we can try to reach her in different ways. Appeal to different sides to her that might help her to shine a little light on whatever it is that she's struggling with. Now, is this going to fix the problem? She might be able to receive it, she might not. But at the end of the day, what happens, you end up coming out victorious because you're able to grow from that situation. So we can't change people. We can't make people what we want them to be, but we can modify how we deal with them, how we cohabitate with them. We can make those necessary adjustments. Find different ways to reinvent yourself. Try different tactics that is healthy to show that person. Lead by example. Show them how to love. If they're not loving, show them how to love by you being the catalyst to lead that process. Whatever is it that you can do to reinvent yourself to help that person, that's what it's about. Marriage is not always going to be, like how they portrayed on TV. You're not always going to be able to fix everything in one episode. Sometimes things are prolonged for a long period of time, and you have to be equipped with the tenacity, with the patience, be a critical thinker, all these different things in order to survive. And these are the character traits that the Most High wants us to develop. And this is why he might give us that complex woman to deal with. It's not always to your demise. Everybody's circumstance is different. Now, I'm not saying that it's a cookie cutter situation, but, when you find yourself in a situation with that particular woman, that might be challenging for you, that particular woman that might rubbing you the wrong way and always seems to get you angry or get under your skin. It's not that you're in a situation that it's to your detriment or it's always toxic. It just means that it might be an area of yourself now that needs developing, right? So it's just like if you're working out in the gym, right? Give you an example, and you want to get buff. You can't lift the lighter weights in order to do that. You start off light, and this is how it is in the beginning of the relationship. It's a honeymoon. Everybody is goony gaga with each other, right? And then it gets a little more challenging because now you need to progress, right? So now you got to go to a heavier weight. You got to step up now. And you get heavier and heavier, and this is how you build your resistance. And from this resistance, this is how you build strength. So look at your situation from a perspective that enables you to endure it, building you. And by building you, you'll lead by an example, and that might encourage that woman to change. Now, let's say the worst case scenario, you do all these things and, they still didn't change. Well, you didn't lose. Now all you have done is become a better man for that next woman that's coming along, or a better woman. Now it could be vice versa, but I'm just giving this example from a man's perspective. You become a better person, so you're not losing anything, and it's not guaranteed because we change and we make these modifications that every relationship is going to work out. Some people just grow apart. Some people are just there for a season. So you have to make that determination. So, stick it out and continue to reinvent yourself, because you have to grow. Any relationship or anything that's alive has to grow. It has to go through changes. So embrace your change, embrace your challenges, and not always look for the easy way out. Once again, this is Kanai telling you stop existing and start living. Peace.